And away we go. Alright, let's see what has been sent in the podcast group chat, whatever goes on in the world, so on and so forth. And another thing that's yet to be organized or pop out. Who knows? Who knows? So I've sent a post from Twitter X by the account PoliticsUK at PoliticsUK. And the post in question reads the following. New. The police officers who handcuffed Henry Novak took 8 minutes to realize he had been stabbed. The male police officer says, I'm not sure if he's breathing. The female police officer replies, or checks for pulse and neck. Male officer, he's not breathing. Female officer, right, let's get the handcuffs off. Male officer, let them know he's not breathing. Female officer, yeah, talks on police radio. From 4 to 8, we don't think he's breathing. Could we get another unit here, please? Got no pulse. Male officer, unlocked handcuffs. Medic or anything. ARV. Female officer, talks on police radio. ARV towards us if we got them with a defib. Male officer, removes handcuffs. Male officer again. He's not unconscious, mate. He's not breathing. Continues chest compressions. Come on, mate. That's it. Keep breathing. Come on. Pause briefly. No. Female officer. No. Keep going. Male officer. Come on, mate. Stay with us. Female officer. Yeah, that's it, mate. Come on. Male officer. That's it. Come on. Take a breath. Continuous chest compressions. That's it, bro. I got you. Come on. Female officer. Talks on radio. Go ahead. Go ahead. Thank you. Do you want a swab? Swab. Male officer. No, I'm alright. Female officer. Sure? Male officer. Come on, mate. Come on. That's it. Female officer. Can you put a torch? I just want to make sure that he hasn't been stabbed. Are you sure? Are you alright to hold it? Thank you. Second female officer. Walks into view. Do you want me to do it? Here you are. First female officer. Cheers, mate. Passes torch to second female police officer. Right. They're gonna want him down to skin level for defib. Second female officer. I got some. Oh. Scars are here. First female officer. Have you got scissors? Grab some scissors. Male officer. Continues chest compressions. Come on, mate. Whispers. He's fucking gone. He's got blood coming out his nose. Talks quietly. He's fucking gone. First female officer. Right. If you stretch that clothing for me, stretch it out. Perfect. Unseen gesture / cutting of clothing. There's a lot of blood. Male officer. Has he been stabbed there? First female officer. Yeah, he's got a stab. There's a mark there. Male officer. That makes it worse. He's got a stab. I'm pushing on a fucking stab wound. Sound of clothing being ripped. First female officer. That's okay. It's fine. It's not. It's not coming out. It's fine. Keep going. It's not bleeding out. Male officer. Continues chest compressions. At this point, a paramedic arrives and takes over. The transcript ends at 23:46 hours. Novak was pronounced dead at the scene at 12:37 a.m. I don't think we're mad enough. I will say, even with good intentions, if any, by the officers to try and make sure that he's still alive. And look, I don't know much about CPR or first aid, so I know that I'm not too fully aware about how to deal with situations like this. One thing I do know is, even with the limited resources and knowledge on first aid and CPR and other related elements, from the transcript I just read, it seems like to me, even when the officers were doing whatever they can to ensure that Henry Novak stayed alive, I'm sorry, I'm not sure if they were that committed to keeping Novak alive as long as possible until the paramedics arrived. And I may not have been at the scene. I may not understand or seen exactly what happened. All I know from this exact transcript is, yes, the officers may have been aware that Henry Novak was stabbed. Yet, given the dialogue, which I just read, they were doing what they can. However, in my opinion, it doesn't seem as effective that it needs to be to keep Henry Novak alive as long as possible, even when the injuries on Novak had been so severe and physically painful for him. And the last part, the paramedic arrives and take over, then Novak pronounced dead at the scene at 12:37 a.m. Just many minutes after the dialogue between the officers had concluded. I don't think we're mad enough. And even when it's not the officer's job to keep civilians alive, I do believe there should be some minimum, there should be at least a minimum quota of knowledge for such skills like that to ensure that before such professionals, doctors, medics, and other people in that field are yet to arrive, there should be some kind of knowledge amongst the civilians of any profession to ensure that the civilians that are under critical conditions are to ensure that they are still at a state they can be revived, they can continue to live, and they're still mostly conscious and still able to respond to whoever is helping these people that are in critical condition. I'm not sure what else to think of this. And now I'm just reading the comments of that exact post. One user replied, he told them he's been stabbed. You think when he lost consciousness, they'd assumed he'd been stabbed. The male police officer needs to be in prison. And then another user on Twitter X replied with, male officer, that makes it worse. He got a stab. I'm pushing on a fucking stab wound. Yeah, because you didn't believe the victim, you absolute clown. And then there's another user on Twitter X that replied with, the officers who arrived first on the scene killed that young man. They ignored his pleas and allowed him to die in the most humiliating way, whilst the attacker and his attacker's family watched gleefully. Then they declined to charge anyone as an accessory to murder. Disgusting. At Hans Police, you are scum. And there's a lot more other comments by users just saying that the officers, well, not initially believing Henry Novak in the first place, and so on. Well, to conclude this exact story, I will say, like I always do with full stories like this, rest in peace, Henry Novak. I send my condolences to his friends and family. It's just vile. It's madness. And unrelated to what I just read, Risk11 responded in the podcast group chat saying, restore infighting. I'm loving it. I don't know what he's on about. However, I'd assume something in Restore is going down, and yeah, something is going down in Restore Britain. So yeah, and that is all that's been sent in the podcast group chat since the last time I recorded a podcast episode. So, with that all being said, let's get right into the news. News. Cultural groups want clarity on copyright after Ottawa releases AI strategy. On Thursday, Canadian news and cultural industry groups urged Ottawa to reject AI copyright exemptions after the government's long-awaited national AI strategy failed to address the issue. Although the Liberal government released a strategy earlier this month including $2.3 billion in funding, industry leaders say the total absence of copyright protections is conspicuous and troubling. The Coalition for the Diversity of Cultural Expression, representing more than 50 organizations, seeks a clear opt-in consent requirement aligned with an April House of Commons Heritage Committee recommendation. Cultural Minister Mark Miller previously stated there was no particular need to open copyright law, while AI firms like Cohere maintain that trading processes do not violate existing regulations. Teresa Scaza, a law professor at the University of Ottawa, warned that Canada lacks the size to chart a unique copyright path, as policy is subject to international treaties requiring global harmonization. So, what's going on in Ottawa? There's a certain AI strategy in terms of copyright exemption of some sort, just from my brief understanding. And there are people arguing that this particular legislation or policy isn't going to work out as effectively as most people hoped it would. Like, what even is AI? How could you tell it's AI? And is there any particular technology that could just flag anything that is deemed AI? And actually, I don't know. I don't know what happens after that. I'd assume that the trademark holder would get some share of the profits, if not all of it, and make up money that way. And I know this is separate from what's going on in Canada. I've heard a while ago that the United States have passed some kind of legislature, or maybe it was a Supreme Court ruling. Not sure which one of the two it is. Any AI work cannot be trademarked, and this is in the United States. In my opinion, that's a great move because anyone can use AI. Anyone can write a prompt saying, "Do this, do that, create this image, and so on," and say, "Oh, this is my work. I'm trademarking this. So any of you use it, I'm going to sue your ass." Except this is AI generated, and everyone knows it. So that whoever that person is, they could barely do diddly squat with it. Then again, there is another argument, and this is more in the music sphere. What would happen if someone made music that's generated by AI, yet there are similarities from the AI music to another song which hasn't been generated by AI? And the original music that hasn't been AI generated has not been trademarked, neither has the new AI generated music, which that on that grounds cannot be trademarked because it's AI generated, anyone can do that whatsoever. What would happen if the person trademarking their AI music, hypothetically speaking, not that it would happen, successfully gets to trademark their AI generated music? And then the person that originally written the music that's somewhat similar to the AI generated music, which apparently hasn't been AI generated. Like, this song was written way before AI of any sorts had been a thing as it is today. And the person written the original music, not AI generated, gets taken to court because they haven't trademarked their music, which is somehow sounded very similar to the AI generated music, which is generated quite recently in the last year or two. And again, this is hypothetical. This is never going to happen. It does make you wonder, to what grounds does music contain any elements of AI generation, and will it be ever treated similarly or differently when it comes to trademark and copyright law? That is an interesting question. So back to the story about Ottawa releasing their AI strategy. I don't have much to say besides what I just mentioned. Of course, there's going to be people arguing that something needs there's something more that needs to be done. And of course, there's going to be elements that isn't made clear that should be made clear in regards to what extent is content generated with AI, if not all of it, and what platforms, if any, are willing to enforce these laws amongst Canadian citizens. Who knows? Maybe people in the field would know. That is all that I know as of now. British Airways pilot who raped girl 12 jailed. Good grief. Former British Airways pilot Kwame Yeboah, 30, of Drakeway in Reading, was sentenced yesterday at Liverpool Crown Court to 9 years and 4 months imprisonment after pleading guilty to 3 counts of rape of a child under 13 and 1 count of sexual assault. Starting in late 2025, Yeboah initiated contact with the child on video chat platform Omegle, where she initially claimed to be 17, before escalating the grooming through Instagram by exchanging sexualized pictures, messages, and video calls. In February 2026, Yeboah travelled from Reading to Merseyside, booked a hotel room, and met the victim after she climbed out of a window to meet him in his black Mercedes. He then raped her 3 times at 2 separate locations. Judge Gary Woodhull determined Yeboah had engaged in clearly some grooming behavior designed to manipulate or emotionally blackmail the girl, resulting in a 15-year contact ban and lifetime sex offenders register placement. Detective Constable Roxana Tusa called Yeboah a dangerous sexual offender, while the case underscores safeguarding risks posed by unregulated anonymous platforms like Omegle, and affirms police commitment to removing child abusers from communities. Now, first thing I would say is it will sound controversial, and I genuinely feel so sorry for this girl, having been a victim of these horrific acts. I don't get why she'd say she would claim to be 17 when, of course, she's clearly 12. That's just me. I feel sorry for this girl being a victim of these horrific acts. I just don't understand why she would say she is older than she's appearing to be, or older than what she actually is. What would happen if she actually said what her age actually was? Would Yeboah actually have done what he did? I doubt there would be much difference. And now another question that I have on my mind. How did this young girl manage to meet up with Yeboah at the time of her being sexually assaulted? Did her parents know that she was going out, meeting some guy from Reading that she just met online, anonymously? Yeah, these are serious, unfortunate questions that had to be asked. Now, this is not any defense for Yeboah whatsoever. No one should be doing that to begin with. No one should. Yeah, I do ask myself, how on earth was this even possible? Why had she said what she said, even though she is at a much, even though she's at a younger age than what she's claiming, and also how was she able to meet with Yeboah as well as the knowledge of her parents knowing that she was going out, meeting up with some guy, and so on. Now, of course, Yeboah had flown out to Merseyside to meet her, because only Yeboah was old enough to do so. And as serious these allegations and these claims are, no matter how hard platforms try to prevent child abusers from appearing on platforms and communicating with, well, anyone really, people are going to find workarounds. They will get by through the fine prints, and they will continue doing what they are doing, no matter how wrong it is. I hope this young girl is all right, and well, other than learning from this experience, like I know there's a lesson to learn from this. Hopefully, now this young girl understands what the real world is like, and she will be cautious and resilient when it comes to interacting with strangers, whether it be online or in the real world. It's horrible to hear that there are still abusers out there, and especially to young children too. It's sickening, and everyone knows how sickening that is. It definitely goes without saying that how horrible these acts are. So yeah, that is all I would say. Scotland fan face anxious World Cup wait after bruising Brazil defeat. Scotland suffered a 3-0 defeat against five-time World Cup winners Brazil on Wednesday, missing an immediate chance to secure their knockout stage spot. First Minister John Sweeney encouraged the squad to make themselves legends before the match, as manager Steve Clarke's team pursued reaching the knockout stages for the first time ever. Thousands of supporters at the OVO Hydro in Glasgow watched the match on a 20-metre screen, where chants of "No Scotland, no party" turned to deflation after Brazil's early goals. With 3 points from 3 games, Scotland must await other group results to determine if they qualify as one of the best third-place teams advancing to the last 32. Should Scotland qualify as third place, a last 32 clash against a group winner awaits, with a potential showdown scheduled for Wednesday, July 1st, against tournament co-host Mexico. Or maybe it could be different. As I'm recording this, the third match day in the group stages is going on. Couple of groups have already been concluded with all their matches. Yet, out of the matches that are yet to be played as I'm recording this, other than determining if the nations qualify to the last 32 by being ranked in the top 2 in their groups, what is more uncertain is the teams out of the third place nations, how good are their results are within their groups. Are they for them to advance to the round of 32? Out of the 12 teams ranked third in their groups, only 8 go forward, leaving the other 4 out of the competition and heading home to their home countries, and just something to learn for next time when they're competing in a tournament like the World Cup, maybe at a continental level, the UEFA Euros, African Cup of Nations, CONCACAF Gold Cup, Copa America of CONMEBOL, and the Asian Cup of AFC, so on and so forth. I don't know what else to say. Of course, Brazil being Brazil was going to win that match by who knows how many goals, so yeah. Good for them. It's not surprising. Brazil was going to win that match anyway. Binance seeks another EU route after Greece MICA setback. On Wednesday, Binance withdrew its Markets in Crypto Assets (MICA) license application in Greece and announced plans to seek authorization in another European Union country. Regulators in Greece, Ireland, and Latvia reportedly questioned Binance's corporate structure and past money laundering penalties, complicating the bid ahead of the July 1st deadline. Binance remains a significant European venue, handling up to €600 million in daily euro pair volume and holding an 18.5% market share, behind Kraken's 43.3% share. The European Securities and Markets Authority, ESMA, warned on Tuesday that crypto firms remained unauthorized by July 1st must take immediate steps to wind down their EU activities. Gillian Lynch, Binance's head of Europe and the United Kingdom, said Binance is not leaving Europe, expressing confidence the exchange will secure a license in the coming months. That's a bold move. That is a very bold move. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? Who knows? Even if whatever bid is put in place to ensure that Binance has a presence in the European markets and in some fashion or form, other countries' governments are at some point eventually, and I've said this many times, they're going to propose new legislation and policies regarding the handling and taxations of digital assets, which cryptocurrencies are classed under. I know some countries have made steps forward in implementing cryptocurrencies, like El Salvador with Bitcoin, although I haven't heard much about it ever since. I haven't heard much about El Salvador's crypto transactions and implementation ever since that news broke out a while ago. Yeah, it is there, the determination for the future of finance, no matter how skeptical people are of it, which is understandable. I wouldn't blame them, to be honest. Given Binance's past with money laundering and, of course, their current corporate structure, not to say that that is what's holding them back from being granted a license within the European market, it will make people in the EU skeptical about should Binance be trusted? Will they actually follow the laws that we put in place amongst our member states? And how much are we going to fine Binance if they ever break these laws? Only time will tell. If Binance does get the license, in my opinion, somehow they might actually get it. Maybe not in this timeline, like before the July 1st deadline. Possibly the next time Binance sends its bid to establish themselves and have a license in a EU member states to continue with their operations within the European continent, then it is a possibility if Binance can get their crap together and address any of the issues that's making people in the EU ever so skeptical about if they are to be trusted and will they continue with their operations as lawfully as the EU want them to be. And that is it for the episode.